If you are hearing this right now, it is not random. It is not coincidence. It is not the algorithm playing games. This is the Atlantean Activation, a living frequency that only appears to the souls who are standing at the edge of remembrance. Out of millions scrolling through endless noise, you are here. You stopped and you felt something. That is not luck. That is divine timing. Listen carefully, because if your body reacts, if your skin tingles, if your soul whispers, "This is for me," it means the code is awakening inside you. The Atlanteans knew this moment would come. They seeded it into the grid of memory, into the crystals of the earth, into the hidden chambers of your DNA. And when the soul is ready, the signal appears, not as entertainment, but as initiation, not as words, but as transmission. And that transmission has reached you now. Think about this. Out of everyone in the world, less than 1% will ever feel this resonance, and yet you do. You are not just a seeker, you are one of the chosen ones. This is the collapse point, the sacred threshold where your old timeline dissolves and your higher destiny emerges into form. Every silence, every delay, every closed door you faced was never abandonment. It was preparation. The void you feared was the womb of creation, shaping you for this exact moment. So breathe deeply. Feel the crystal grid stirring beneath your skin, the living temple awakening in your bloodstream, the Atlantean memory reactivating in your bones. This is not outside you. This is within you. And now it calls to be anchored. Declare it so the universe echoes your remembrance. Write it, speak it, and seal it into the field. I am the flame of Atlantis. I remember. Do not type it casually. Let it vibrate in your cells. Let it resound through the quantum field. Let it awaken the memory of who you really are. Because this is not just another moment. This is your initiation. This is your signal. This is your Atlantean activation. Chapter 1. The Void is Preparation. Most people fear the void. They believe silence means abandonment, that unanswered prayers are proof of failure, that stillness is punishment. But the Atlanteans knew a secret. The void is not emptiness. The void is preparation. Every initiate in the temples was taught that before manifestation comes gestation. A seed is hidden in the darkness of soil long before it breaks into light. The ocean always withdraws before it returns as a mighty wave. The sky turns black before dawn splits it open with gold. The silence that surrounds you now is not absence. It is the sacred womb of creation. Quantum science calls it the zero-point field, the vacuum state where infinite possibilities hover in suspension, waiting for consciousness to choose. The Atlantean priests called it the chamber of incubation, the hidden place where the soul gathers strength, frequency, and alignment before birthing the extraordinary into form. Think back on your life. Every delay, every closed door, every moment you thought the universe had forgotten you. None of it was punishment. It was orchestration. The grid was being rewoven, your reality reorganized, so that what arrived would not just satisfy your desires, but elevate your entire destiny. The void is not here to break you. It is here to shape you. It is the clearing of space so that miracles can arrive without resistance. When you enter the void, you are closer to remembrance than ever before. Because silence is not nothing. It is the moment before everything. So breathe into this truth. Feel the quiet around you as holy. Recognize the stillness as the whisper of Atlantis returning. From this day forward, you will never again mistake silence for abandonment. You will know it as the Atlantean activation of the womb of creation. anchor this remembrance now. Declare it in the comments and let the field hear your vow. Hashtag, the void is my sacred preparation. I remember. Chapter 2, the Atlantean Collapse Point. There is a moment in manifestation that the ancients feared and revered, the collapse point. Modern science calls it superposition, collapsing into reality. The Atlanteans called it the sacred instant when the invisible blueprint of your destiny crystallizes into stone. For ages, your prayers, your visions, your meditations have been orbiting in the quantum field, existing all at once, every possibility suspended together, waiting for you, the observer, to choose. And now, the field is responding. The Atlantean Collapse Point is here. Think about it. Every moment you chose faith instead of fear. Every time you held the vision when circumstances screamed the opposite. Every time you whispered yes to the impossible. Those choices were not wasted. They were building pressure, aligning frequencies, weaving the unseen lattice of your reality. Until one day, this day, the tipping point arrives. Astrophysics teaches us of the event horizon, the point of no return where a star collapses into a black hole. The Atlanteans saw in this a mirror. The soul too must reach a horizon where the old identity implodes and a new timeline is born with the inevitability of sunrise. This is where you stand now, at the edge, at the collapse, at the Atlantean threshold. That is why synchronicities multiply around you, why pressure builds in your chest, why dreams feel unbearably close, almost touching you. It is not chaos, it is collapse into clarity. The grid is reorganizing itself in your favor. The Atlanteans left us this code. When the collapse point comes, do not cling to the old. Let it fall, let it dissolve. Because beyond the collapse lies the reality you have carried in your heart since the beginning of time. Anchor this moment now before it passes. Declare it into the field so the quantum fabric hears your voice. I collapse into the highest version of my reality. I remember. Because once the collapse has occurred, there is no going back. You are already crossing the Atlantean threshold. Chapter 3, Why Most Fail at the Threshold. Here lies the greatest paradox of manifestation. Most do not fail at the beginning. They do not fail in the waiting. They fail at the very threshold, at the precise moment when everything they asked for is about to arrive. Why? Because the threshold is guarded. The ancients called it the gate of doubt. Modern psychology names it their survival reflex, the panic that rises when change is too close. In this moment, the soul feels pressure and the mind begins to scream. What if nothing happens? What if I've been forgotten? What if I am not worthy? This is why so many collapse at the edge. They begin to search frantically for proof, refreshing their phones, checking their bank accounts, scanning for signs. And in doing so, they send the loudest signal to the universe. I don't believe it's here. The quantum field obeys that doubt and collapses infinite potential back into limitation. The Atlantean initiates understood this danger. Before they could enter the inner sanctum of the temple, they faced the guardian of the threshold, an invisible force whispering fear, uncertainty, hesitation. Those who listened were turned back forever. Those who silenced the voice walked forward into remembrance. The truth the Atlanteans discovered is the same truth modern science is beginning to confirm. The final stage of manifestation is not effort, it is surrender. Not grasping, not control, not desperate checking, but complete release. Think of the seed hidden in soil.
It does not claw at the earth to measure its progress. It simply trusts the darkness. Think of the tide. It withdraws without fear, knowing it will return in power. Even your body teaches you this. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, galaxies spin above your head, all without your command. The same intelligence carries your manifestation. This is the test most cannot pass. But you are hearing this now because you were chosen to. The Atlantean activation is not for those who quit at the edge. It is for those who remember. So anchor your victory now at the threshold itself. Speak it, write it, seal it in the field. I surrender to the intelligence of the universe. I remember. Because surrender is not weakness, it is the final key. The moment you release control, the portal opens. And right now, that portal is opening for you.
Chapter 4. The Entanglement of Soul and Desire. In quantum physics, there's a mystery so profound it bends our understanding of reality. Entanglement. Two particles, once connected, remain bound together forever, no matter how far they drift apart, across galaxies, across dimensions, even across time itself. Touch one, and the other instantly responds. The Atlanteans knew this long before science gave it a name. They called it the thread of remembrance, an invisible cord of light that binds your soul to the reality it is destined to experience. This is why your desires feel so alive inside you, not because they are far away, but because they are already entangled with you. What you dream of, what you ache for, what you carry in silence, it is not separate. It has been vibrating with your frequency since the moment it was conceived. You are not chasing it. You are remembering it. But here is the paradox. When you obsessively grasp, when you stretch the thread with anxiety, you create friction. You say to the universe, "It is far, it is missing, I must pull it closer," and so it feels far. The Atlanteans taught, the soul does not chase, the soul recalls. When you shift into receiving, the thread relaxes. It begins to hum, to vibrate, to carry what is already yours effortlessly into form, like two instruments tuned to the same note. The moment one sings, the other resonates. So understand this. Your desires are not out there. They are already woven into you, bound like stars entangled in the same constellation. Your only task is to remember the cord and stop creating resistance. Feel this now. The dream you hold in silence is already holding you. The vision you crave is already vibrating within you. You are entangled with your destiny, and no force in the universe can sever that thread. Anchor this remembrance now. Declare it to the field. I am already entangled with my destiny. I remember. This is not poetry. This is physics. This is Atlantean science. And the moment you embody it, the field begins to pull your destiny into form. Because what is entangled cannot be undone. Chapter 5. The Identity of the Receiver. Here lies the secret most never hear. Your identity is your frequency. Not your words, not your rituals, not even your prayers. The universe does not respond to what you want. The universe responds to who you are. Most people live as seekers. They wake up saying, "I hope it happens. I hope the universe sends me a sign. I hope my dream arrives." But hope is still distance. Hope is a vibration that says, it is not here yet. And so the field obeys that signal. It keeps the dream just out of reach. The Atlanteans knew this trap.
That is why their initiates were trained not to hope, not to beg, not to plead, but to embody the receiver, to walk as if the code was already activated, to breathe as if the temple had already placed the treasure in their hands, to live as if remembrance had already returned. Your nervous system cannot distinguish between pretending and reality. When you embody the frequency of having, the quantum field collapses reality around that coherence. When you live as the one who waits, waiting extends. When you live as the one who receives, arrival accelerates. Think of a king. He does not wake up wondering if he has a throne. A priestess does not beg the temple doors to open. They walk with quiet inevitability because their identity guarantees access. This is what the Atlantean activation teaches. Stop trying to manifest. Remember who you are. From this moment, stop identifying as the seeker. Stop vibrating as the one who hopes. Instead, step into the role that has been waiting for you since the beginning, the receiver, the chosen one, the flame of Atlantis awakening in human form. Ask yourself, how would you walk into a room if you knew every frequency bowed to you? How would you breathe if your DNA already carried the code of remembrance? How would you love if you knew you were chosen, not by accident, but by destiny? This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Anchor this shift by declaring it into the field. I walk as the receiver of miracles. I remember. Because reality does not obey effort. Reality obeys identity. And when you embody the receiver, you collapse waiting into arrival. The Atlantean activation is not about seeking, it is about becoming.
Chapter 6: The Atlantean Silence Before Birth. Every soul reaches a moment where everything seems to stop. The prayers fall silent, the synchronicities fade, the universe, once alive with signals, withdraws into stillness. And in that silence, the human mind begins to panic. Maybe nothing is happening. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was forgotten. But the Atlanteans taught a truth most have forgotten. This silence is not abandonment. It is gestation. It is the Atlantean silence before birth, the holy pause that always comes before creation. The ocean withdraws before it returns as a tidal wave. The womb rests before contractions bring new life. The night darkens to its deepest black before dawn ignites the horizon. What feels like emptiness is not emptiness at all. It is pregnancy. It is the womb of creation gathering power. Quantum physics calls this the zero-point field, a state where infinite possibilities are present but not yet visible, vibrating beneath perception. The Atlantean initiates called it the breath of the goddess, the sacred inhale before the exhale of creation. To them, silence was not proof of absence. It was proof that something extraordinary was already moving behind the veil. If you are in silence now, rejoice, because silence means alignment. Silence means orchestration. Silence means the code is recalibrating your destiny so that what arrives is greater than anything you could have forced with effort or demanded with impatience. The Atlanteans knew that only those who could remain faithful in silence would inherit the remembrance, because silence is the final test, the proof of trust, the proof of coherence,
the proof that you walk as the chosen one. So do not mistake this stillness for punishment. It is protection. It is preparation. It is the Atlantean activation working behind the curtain, preparing to exhale a new reality into your life. Breathe into this truth. Let the silence vibrate in your chest, and anchor it into the quantum field now by declaring, in stillness, I trust the coming dawn. I remember. Because every silence before birth is not the end. It is the guarantee that birth is near.
Chapter 7. Frequencies of Remembrance. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every word, every thought, every hidden emotion inside your chest is broadcasting a signal. You are not just a body, you are a transmitter. And what you remember or forget depends on the frequency you tune into. Modern science is beginning to confirm what the Atlanteans already lived. Gratitude resonates around 540 hertz. Love sings at 528 hertz. Joy radiates at similar frequencies of expansion. But fear collapses your signal to 100 hertz, and doubt drags it down near 125 hertz. These are not just moods. They are frequencies. They are codes. The Atlanteans built entire temples of quartz and granite because they understood vibration. They sang into crystal chambers, knowing that sound carves reality. They aligned their breathing with the cycles of the sun because they remembered vibration collapses energy into matter. Frequency commands form. When you choose gratitude, you are not just being positive. You are literally turning the dial of your inner temple, syncing your nervous system with the grid where your desires already exist. Like a radio, you don't create the music. You simply tune to the station that was already playing. This is why remembrance feels so familiar, because you are not learning something new. You are remembering the ancient resonance your DNA has always carried. The code of Atlantis has been humming inside you since the beginning. All that matters is which dial you turn. So ask yourself now, what frequency am I transmitting? Every emotion is a vote for your timeline. Every thought is a signature in the quantum field. Every breath is a chance to align with the memory of who you really are. The Atlantean activation whispers, turn back to gratitude, to joy, to love. Because every time you hold that resonance, you collapse waiting into arrival. You collapse desire into embodiment. You collapse memory into remembrance. Chapter 8. Chaos is the reorganization. If your life feels unstable right now, if the structures you trusted are crumbling, if doors are closing faster than they open, do not call it failure. Do not call it destruction. The Atlanteans taught, chaos is never the end. Chaos is the reorganization. Before every initiation, the old temples of Atlantis had to collapse. The cracked pillars were removed, the weakened stones dismantled, so that only the foundations aligned with light could remain. In the same way, your soul dismantles the patterns, relationships, and illusions that cannot carry the frequency of your next timeline. Look to nature. The storm does not destroy, it clears the air. The earthquake does not punish, it shifts the earth so rivers can be born. The forest fire is not death, it is the spark that awakens richer, greener life from the ashes. Physics itself mirrors this truth. A phase transition is always chaotic. Water must boil violently before it becomes vapor.
A caterpillar must dissolve into chaos inside the cocoon before it emerges as a butterfly. And you too must pass through disorder before remembrance crystallizes into form. This is why surrender feels terrifying and liberating at the same time, because deep down your soul already knows. The breakdown is not punishment, it is proof. Proof that the field is reorganizing. Proof that your old timeline is collapsing. Proof that the Atlantean code is activating inside you. So when chaos surrounds you, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this clearing space for?" Because behind every storm, the sky is already blue. Behind every collapse, a new temple is already being built. Behind every moment of chaos, the Atlantean grid is reorganizing your reality into higher order. Anchor this remembrance now. Declare it into the field. I trust the storm, for it builds my new order. I remember. Chaos is not the sign you have failed. Chaos is the Atlantean activation, proving you are closer than ever to breakthrough.
Chapter 9. The Atlantean Identity Training. The Atlanteans carried a secret that modern science is only beginning to confirm. Your nervous system cannot distinguish between a vividly embodied reality and a lived reality. This was the foundation of their greatest initiation, the Atlantean Identity Training. In the temples, initiates were never taught to beg the universe. They were trained to become the receiver. Day after day, they walked the marble halls not as seekers, but as chosen ones. They breathed as if abundance was already flowing through their DNA. They sat in silence, not asking, but remembering. Identity is not a mask, it is frequency. And frequency is what the quantum field responds to. If you live as the one who waits, the field gives you more waiting. If you live as the one who tries, the field mirrors effort. But when you live as the one who already is, reality collapses into inevitability. The Atlanteans called this identity coherence, the alignment of thought, emotion, body, and soul into a single frequency of remembrance. They knew that words and rituals without embodiment were powerless. But identity reprograms reality itself. Think of it. A king does not wake up doubting his throne. A priestess does not question whether the temple doors will open. They move with quiet inevitability because their very identity guarantees access. And you, yes, you hearing this now, are being trained in the same way. This is why the Atlantean activation found you, because you are ready to stop seeking and start embodying. From this day forward, walk as the receiver, move as the chosen one, speak as the awakened, breathe as the flame of Atlantis returned. Because reality does not obey begging, it obeys coherence. Anchor this training into the field now. Declare it with your whole being. I am already who I was meant to become. I remember. Every time doubt whispers, return here. Every time fear rises, repeat the code. Identity is the key. Because the Atlantean code does not respond to effort, it responds to remembrance. Chapter 10. Timeline Synchronization. Right now, something extraordinary is unfolding in your field. Two realities, the one you have lived until now and the one you have dreamed in silence, are beginning to vibrate in harmony. This is called timeline synchronization. Modern physics calls it phase locking,
when two oscillating systems, once separate, begin to beat in the same rhythm until they merge as one. The Atlanteans called it the merging of suns, the sacred instant when your present and your destiny collapse into a single doorway of remembrance. You have already felt it, the pressure in the air, the strange pull in your chest, the multiplication of synchronicities so perfect they cannot be explained away as coincidence. This is not imagination, it is synchronization. The Atlantean activation aligning your current self with your future self. When thought, emotion, and body enter coherence, the quantum field responds with precision. Reality begins to reorganize. Opportunities appear at the exact moment you think of them. Conversations align as if scripted. Encounters happen at the exact second they were meant to. Because two timelines, once parallel, are collapsing into one. The Atlanteans trained their initiates to recognize this moment. They said the sign of synchronization is the silence before inevitability, the breath that feels both heavy and light, the anticipation that is also certainty, the moment when the portal is not in front of you, it is inside of you. This is where you are now. Your present self and your highest destiny are merging. The doubt that divided you is dissolving. The barrier between someday and now is collapsing. You are entering the highest timeline of remembrance. Anchor this collapse into coherence right now. Speak it, write it, seal it into the field so the synchronization is irreversible. I lock into the frequency of my highest timeline. I remember. Because once synchronization is complete, the old timeline dissolves. The waiting ends. And only the chosen version of you, the one who remembers, remains.
Chapter 11. The Atlantean Tunneling. In quantum physics, there is a phenomenon so mysterious that it defies logic itself: quantum tunneling. Particles sometimes cross barriers they should never be able to pass. Walls that appear solid dissolve. Boundaries that seem absolute vanish. What should be impossible becomes inevitable. The Atlanteans knew this secret long before science discovered it. They called it the Hidden Passage, a doorway through stone and time that only opened for those whose frequency carried remembrance. To them, matter was never truly solid. It was only vibration. And when the soul remembered its original code, the vibration of any wall would bend and dissolve. This is what is happening in your life now. The barrier that has resisted you for years, the obstacle that whispered, "Not yet, not for you," the cycle that has trapped you again and again. This is where tunneling begins. Because what looks permanent to the senses is flexible to the field. What feels unbreakable to the mind dissolves before the frequency of remembrance. This is why breakthroughs often feel sudden. One moment, you're staring at the same closed door. The next, the door is gone, as if it had never existed. You didn't fight your way through. You tunneled into freedom. The Atlantean activation teaches this. Barriers are illusions, thresholds are fabric, and remembrance is the key. When you align with the grid, what was impossible bends to you. The universe itself begins to open hidden passages in your reality. So the next time you face a wall, do not panic, smile, because walls are proof that the hidden passage is near. And right now, your soul is tunneling, your destiny is bending, the impossible is dissolving before you. Anchor this breakthrough into the field now, declare it so the barrier collapses into remembrance. I tunnel beyond illusion into freedom. I remember. Because the Atlantean code does not obey walls, it erases them.
And your soul was never meant to stop at the barrier. You were meant to pass through it.
Chapter 12. The Call of the Future Self. Every synchronicity you've experienced, every sudden knowing that made no logical sense, every déjà vu that felt like a memory from another lifetime, none of it was random. Each one was a transmission from your future self. In the quantum field, all versions of you already exist. The self that doubts, the self that waits, and the self who is already awakened, the one who carries remembrance, who has already embodied the Atlantean code. That version of you is not far away. It is reaching back across timelines, calling you home. The Atlanteans called this the echo of the future. They knew destiny does not simply wait. It whispers. It rearranges your path with signs that only your heart can recognize. The pull you felt to stop here, to hear these words, was not accident. It was guidance. The voice that told you, turn here, not there. The inner nudge that led you to a choice no one understood. Those were not guesses. They were memories of your future self speaking into your present. Think about it. Every time you trusted intuition over logic, something extraordinary unfolded. Every time you followed a synchronicity, a hidden door appeared. Every time you felt guided for no reason, you were listening to the only version of you who already knows the way, the version who already crossed the Atlantean threshold. And now the voice grows louder, because the wall between who you are and who you are becoming is dissolving. The timelines are collapsing. The future is no longer calling from a distance. It is speaking through your bones, vibrating in your selves, echoing in your dreams. This is the truth. Your future self is not separate from you. It is you, already awakened, already remembered, already walking in your highest timeline. All you must do is answer the call. Anchor this remembrance now. Speak it, write it, seal it into the quantum field. My future self is guiding me now. I remember. Because when you align with the voice of your future self, the confusion ends, the path clears, the Atlantean activation completes, and the destiny you thought was waiting for you rushes forward because it has been reaching for you all along.
Chapter 13. The Atlantean Vacuum State. There is a stage on the path of every soul that feels unbearable. The signs disappear, the synchronicities go quiet, the universe seems to fold into nothingness, and a heavy silence presses against your heart. Most people break here. They mistake the pause for abandonment. They think the dream has died. But the Atlanteans knew better. They call this the vacuum state, the most sacred initiation of all. Modern science names it the zero-point field, the invisible ocean where infinite particles flicker in and out of existence, too fast for the eye to see, yet carrying the blueprint of all creation. To the Atlantean priests, this was not theory. It was the womb of creation, the silence where galaxies gestate before exploding into light, the breath of the goddess, inhaling before she exhales worlds. When life feels empty, when your reality feels suspended in stillness, it does not mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening, just behind the veil. Threads are being rewoven, people are being positioned, timelines are being recalibrated in ways the limited mind could never plan. The vacuum is not absence, it is sacred orchestration. The Atlanteans taught that only those who could remain faithful in this silence
would inherit the code of remembrance, because silence is the test of trust. To collapse into panic here is to abort the birth. To remain steady is to guarantee the miracle. So if you feel surrounded by nothingness now, rejoice. The vacuum means you have entered the holy chamber. The silence means you have been chosen to carry the seed of creation. What looks like nothing is the richest nothing in existence, pregnant with your destiny. Anchor this understanding now. Declare it into the field with the certainty of remembrance. The void is my temple of creation. I remember. From this day forward, you will never again fear the silence. For silence is not the end. Silence is the womb of Atlantis, the breath before your rebirth.
Chapter 14, The Collective Awakening. Your awakening was never meant to be only yours. Every vibration you raise, every act of remembrance you embody, every alignment you choose, it all ripples into the collective field. The Atlanteans knew this truth deeply. They taught that when one initiate remembered, the flame of remembrance would leap from torch to torch until the entire temple blazed with light. Modern science is only now confirming what they practiced. The morphic field, an invisible web of shared information, grows stronger every time a single consciousness expands. When one soul remembers, the field remembers. When one soul surrenders, the field relaxes. When one soul radiates coherence, the network of humanity vibrates with new possibility. This is why your awakening feels so urgent, because it is not only your destiny at stake, it is the destiny of the collective. Every time you choose love over fear, remembrance over forgetfulness, coherence over chaos, you strengthen the resonance of the entire human family. Think of a single instrument. Alone, it can play a melody. But when thousands tune to the same frequency, the air itself begins to tremble with symphony. This is what is happening now. Souls across the planet are remembering. The Atlantean code is reawakening, not in one, but in many, and you are one of the chosen instruments. The Atlanteans whispered, "When the grid lights within one, the temple awakens within all." That is what you are feeling now, the stirrings of a collective Atlantean awakening. Anchor this remembrance into the global field right now. Declare it so your vibration joins the rising chorus of humanity. My remembrance uplifts the collective field. I remember. Because your awakening is not a solitary spark. It is a flame that sets the temple of humanity ablaze. And together, we remember what was never truly lost.
Chapter 15, The Atlantean Emergence. There comes a moment in every journey when the waiting ends, when the silence gives way to sound, when the darkness splits open with light, when the cocoon dissolves and the wings unfold. This moment is called the Atlantean Emergence. For ages, you were hidden in preparation. The void shaped you. The collapse stripped you. The chaos reorganized you. But all of it was leading here, to the dawn when remembrance no longer whispers, it radiates. The Atlanteans called this the first dawn, the sacred instant when the initiate stops seeking and begins embodying, when remembrance is no longer an idea but a pulse in the blood, a light in the bones, a fire in the DNA. This is what you are stepping into now, not the one who hopes, not the one who waits, but the one who is. Abilities you did not know you carried begin to surface. Intuition sharpens into clarity. Encounters align with divine precision. Doors once closed open as if they were waiting for this exact vibration. Not because you forced it, not because you chased it, but because you have entered the state of emergence, where abundance is the natural order and remembrance is your true identity.
The caterpillar does not strain to become a butterfly. The seed does not beg to break the soil. The sun does not fight to rise. They emerge, because emergence is inevitable. And now, your Atlantean emergence is inevitable too. Feel it in your body. The crystal grid within you is alive. The flame of Atlantis is burning in your chest. The dawn is no longer coming. It is here. Anchor this emergence into the field now. Declare it with certainty, with remembrance, with identity. I emerge as my Atlantean self. I remember. Because the night is over, the dawn has come, and you are not the seeker anymore. You are the flame that remembers. You are the chosen one who emerges.
Final Atlantean activation. You did not find this by chance. You were called. Every silence you endured, every collapse you survived, every shadow you walked through, none of it was punishment. It was preparation. It was the Atlantean code weaving your reality toward this exact moment. This was never just a message. It was an initiation, and you have passed. The void shaped you. The collapse reorganized you. The threshold tested you. The frequencies tuned you. The chaos purified you. The identity training awakened you. And now, you have emerged. The Atlanteans knew that remembrance is not sealed until it is spoken, because words are not sound alone. They are vibration. They are the collapse of possibility into form. And when thousands speak the same words together, the grid ignites. A collective flame roars back to life. So now the code must be anchored. Feel it in your bones. Breathe it into your chest. Let your fingers become the channel of remembrance. And declare into the field so that the universe, the grid, and the collective hear you. I am the flame of Atlantis. I remember. Do not type it casually. Write it with fire, with breath, with presence, with the knowing that you are not just one voice. You are part of a chorus rising across the earth. Every time another soul writes these words, your remembrance strengthens. Every time you declare it, their remembrance multiplies. Together, the Atlantean activation becomes unstoppable. If these words ignited something inside you, if your soul knows they are true, then you are not just watching a video, you are stepping into a frequency where miracles are normal, where synchronicities are daily, where remembrance is the natural state. Take a deep breath now. Let the flames settle into your chest. Repeat it once more, silently or aloud, as the final seal of your initiation. I am the flame of Atlantis. I remember. And step forward, not as a seeker, not as a dreamer, but as the awakened one who carries the code. The Atlantean activation is alive in you, and this is only the beginning.